passion for fight stems from your competitiveness with Ryu. Just the quality I'm looking for.
Any man strong enough to beat the crap out of Sagat is a man I want found.
Even the highest-ranking martial arts specialists average only 2,000. It seems incomprehensible that he could rank over 3,000.
You're putting personal revenge in front of common sense and duty to your country.
You disappoint me, masters. I'll fashion you into a real fighter.
Welcome to another job comparison video. Yes, it took me a while, but I really tried my best to love the monk and give it the most fair treatment I could offer, due to how much I struggled with playing it. Nonetheless, the first big thing that I realized and directly turned into a reason why you could fall in love with the monk is the ultimate flexibility when it comes to rotation and when to use weapon skills, which I will call punches in this video. Even though you have to keep your Twin Snakes buff active as well as a damage over time effect on your target, you can basically use skills whenever you like, as long as they are part of the stance your pattern follows on. However, this is what I thought at the first glance, but when practicing and learning the optimal rotations, it felt much more determined and you actually have to follow very strict patterns and order of punches. Which turned this into a totally different reason. Yes, this does feel like a classical fighting game with combos and movesets that you need to alternate between to find weak spots in your enemy's defenses. And to be honest, that is a genius thing, and even though I personally struggle to deal with it, because of the very short buff and dot durations, I can definitely see some players enjoying this way more than any other job out there, as they might come from fighting games or love to play them from time to time. Another reason can be found in how reduced the monk feels compared to other jobs. You don't have all these big cooldown windows forcing you to lay all your 30 hotkeys into a single time frame of 30 seconds, but more like a true monk unlocking chakras or nadis through performing your rotation in different or identical ways, but with keen planning in mind. So while a ninja, for example, starts with a very heavy DPS explosion inside of its opener, the monk extends this to a preparation for the big re-opener later on, like some rotations do for the Reaper as well, but with much more focus on using punches and finishing blows instead of big stances or cooldown windows. Yes, you have Riddle of Fire or Brotherhood as well, and these are very powerful cooldowns to increase your parties and your personal damage, but you don't really feel them. The only thing that you notice enhancing your punch sequences and granting access to new finisher attacks is your perfect balance skill. But even here, especially by running on a 40-second recast timer, it never feels like you're falling short of your cooldown window and get significant dropouts of your damage and fun. So as a monk, you're always hitting and your DPS feels very consistent, kinda similar to the Black Mage but without the big cast time negatives. All in all, this not only leads to less buttons on your hotbar, but evokes a reduced and simplified feeling of skills, even though the combat system is engagingly demanding. On the other hand, even if this engaging demand seems to be difficult to start with, it helped me tremendously in not giving up on learning the rotation and such, especially due to the fact that once you're not hitting the optimal patterns and combos, or simply deny the whole idea of an optimal rotation, monk seems to be that job with the least amount of punishment for mistakes. Don't get me wrong, it is still among the most difficult jobs out there, but pulling your weight seems to be much more achievable than on a Black Mage, for instance. At least when you're not used to the encounter you're dealing with. And something I realized when filming footage without my UI active, there isn't much you have to actively track. No procs, no super precise timings for big cooldowns, and as long as you keep your Twin Snakes buff and other things active, and remember to rotate between Dragon Kick and Boot Shine, you can really engrave this rotation into your brain. And I do believe that with good practice, this becomes one of the smoothest gameplay experiences any DPS job can offer. However, there is still one thing that I will keep recommending for potential monk lovers, which is the bare-handed combat. Not only that the animations are definitely different than those of other jobs in the way your character uses its body and raw power to strike against enemies, but also how fast and agile it looks. turning yourself into the embodiment of martial arts and the only job that offers the raw power of the fist. So fans of Dragon Ball, One Punch Man, or basically all the old martial arts animes, mangas, or even real action movies will love this job regardless of what others are offering. Above that, I love that you don't have to mess around with millions of weapon glams, as fighting barehanded with the Emperor's new fists is the way to go here, and only very unobtrusive knuckle glams can work as well. So if you don't care about this endless hunt for the most badass weapon, playing a monk, you are the weapon. Even though I have to admit that there are some badass looking knuckles or claws, especially those from Palace of the Dead. Alright, the last argument, which is actually the one for all argument, and strikes many other reasons even other jobs offer. Because if I would crown one job as the ultimate choice for the advanced or hardcore player that enjoys the game's challenges like a good old wine, this wine is best enjoyed with a monk in my opinion. Yes, technically the Black Mage is even more difficult, but there's one aspect that holds it back. It's a true selfish DPS and a bad team player. Where the monk on the other hand shines brightly through mantra, brotherhood and basically all of its kit that lets the monk adjust to circumstances like all the other flexible jobs out there, only with the melee uptime difficulty being the stepping stone. But like I said, this challenge might be the attraction force to some players, but you still have the supportive edge and advantage in usefulness for your party over a Black Mage. Paired up with insanely powerful personal damage, and above that, Thunderclap even lets you rush towards a targeted party member since Endwalker, improving your versatility even further, paired with the insane amounts of positional removers a monk has access to basically since 5.3, making this a much more convenient challenge than ever before. But like on all jobs, there are downsides, and these might be even more problematic than they are on some of the easier jobs. But maybe all that doesn't matter to you, and hopefully you're already convinced to give it a try. Okay, starting with my deal breaker for the monk personally. The short Twin Snakes buff plus the short duration of Demolish start on the target. Not only that I'm losing the buff every now and then, the 3-second difference between these two skills, plus the fact that they are part of the stance system, leads to my brain exploding every time I'm playing the monk. I mean, I get the idea and attraction of having short buffs and dots due to how rotational the monk is designed, but misaligning these two punches and their effect on purpose feels very odd to me. And I would definitely have much less brain farts when I could always combine these two whenever one needs to be refreshed. But the story doesn't end here. I know this is a non-issue for experienced monk players, but the fact that you can literally fuck up your rotation every time you lost track of your Latin bootshine proc and used bootshine without one, brings me back to my hotbar and buff tracking every second or third GCD just to make sure that I haven't missed the last one or did the other combo order already. I know, this makes it interesting, and I believe that once getting used to it actually provides lots of fun. It just isn't my type of thing, as this perfectly embraces the idea of short buff and dot windows and makes my eyes be glued to my hotbars and buffs, instead of opening up space for boss handling and mechanics. So, if that is something you struggle with as well, a Reaper or Samurai are definitely the better options, as they have very long dots or buffs that are automatically extended by certain skills and traits of your rotation, or you just use the buff 2 times in a row to make it last longer like the Reaper does, granting way more convenience and less active tracking time than on a monk. Above that, the weapon glamour aspect of course can also lead to a dissatisfaction with weapon options. Even though you have knuckle glams in vast numbers, they fall short compared to spears, samurai swords or even the 2 knives a ninja offers. Which means if you're a keen collector or glam swapper, the monk is not really a good choice compared to its competition. But who needs glams? Who needs time to track boss mechanics? Real monk players are one with their environment, aesthetics, and their agility is enhanced the less stuff they wear, right? So become one with body and soul and start your journey to learn the riddle of fire, riddle of wind, and the way of the fist. As this is all you need and one of the jobs you can directly start with from the character selection menu in the form of the Pugilist. And of course, if you need more inspiration, check out the other 5 reason videos to learn about all the other jobs out there found in the description. Until next time, try to see what lies beyond your fist and keep loving Final Fantasy.